What's going on, everybody? Onorato and Miller. It's Chris. It's Ash, live from Tinney's Tavern on Lake Desolation, a place I had never been, a place I may not have even heard of, but this place is incredible. We are Greenfield Center, Middle Grove, that kind of region of Saratoga County, and we'll tell you why exactly we're here. But it's a very cool place, Ash.
It is a very cool place. Tiny, nice little lake. Feels like a really, we're in like a town restaurant. It feels like, listen, I know this is a new restaurant, but it feels like a place that you're going to see a lot of the same people when you come in here, and like everybody knows everybody.
Well, yeah, the place has been around since the 1950s. They've just kind of redone it in a way. Bill Miller and Sean Wilcoxon, their wives, Jamie Wilcoxon, Karen Miller, have bought this restaurant, and they're leaving a lot of the charm, right? But just changing the flooring, painting the walls and stuff. It's a great place for snowmobilers, as they tell me.
Yep.
I've never driven a snowmobile. It's a great place for ATVers, they tell me. I've never driven an ATV.
Probably better.
No doubt about that. They shouldn't even put me in a vehicle of any kind. So it's already busy. This is a Thursday night. If you're watching us on TV on News Channel 13 or My 4, this is a Thursday night dinner crowd, and we'll show you a little bit of the restaurant itself, and we'll also see it on News Channel 13, the ribbon cutting ceremony that we had earlier today. We'll get to that, but let's jump into what we're really kind of... Carol, it's good to see you.
Hey, Carol.
Good to see you, Carol. We are out and about and enjoying it here. All right. Thursday afternoon, the Yankees beat the Mariners 5-0.
Yep.
And Luis Heel was outstanding again, 6 1/3. But what really jumps out to me is what Aaron Judge has done in the month of May, and we'll get to that. But look at the record, Ash. Without Garrett Cole, and people are going to say, Jason Dominguez, we don't know about. You're right. We still don't know about Dominguez. Sure. But the fact that he is not playing right now, he'll be like a trade deadline addition, and Cole will be like a trade deadline addition. Realistically, what's the ceiling for this team?
I can't wait for them to both come back and the record just, and people will freak out.
Just
people
works that way, doesn't it?
Addition by subtraction or subtraction by addition. Which one is it?
Yep.
You know, in this case, you hope it's addition by addition. But what's the ceiling for this team? A World Series. The World Series is the ceiling. They have as good a team as they've had in quite some time.
Would you make them the favorite right now in the American League? I mean, a cousin of mine, Mike, diehard Yankees fan, said to me this past weekend when we were with him, I still don't know if they win a playoff series against the Orioles. And I looked at him like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's where we are with Baltimore now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not where I am with Baltimore right now, but I don't know if I make them the favorite. I need more time. But they've got as good a shot as any.
Here are the numbers on Judge. In the month of May, 20 games, and we've still got a week or so to go with the month. I know we don't pay attention to average anymore, really, and the OPS number is beyond through the roof. But when I saw he's hitting 373, I said to you the other night, remember, I'm like, he's already hitting 260 something. He was hitting $197 not that long ago.
Right.
Well, this is why.
So to do that, to raise your average like he has, it's not easy to do. Once you're a month into the season, a month and a half into the season, to then be able to raise your average that quickly is really, really impressive. It's hard to do. It tells you just how hot he has been in the last month.
You know what I haven't done is play the show open. I guess we'll skip it this week. We're too deep in now. It doesn't make sense.
You do it when we take the next break. You do the open. It's perfect.
Coming back from commercial.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Stay tuned for that. That's a good tease.
It's perfect.
8 homers, 16 RBIs in 20 games. And the Yankees have the best record
and the strikeouts
in the American
are down.
League.
There are still how many days left? 10 days left in the month, basically. And these are the numbers he's putting up, which are better than the month of April. And the strikeouts are down.
And most importantly, maybe he's protecting Juan Soto in that lineup. Giancarlo Stanton also homered on Thursday afternoon. So you've got Soto, Judge, and Stanton all in double figures in the home run category. Soto might be the MVP of the team so far, but what
he's
Judge
been the
is
most
doing
consistent,
no doubt. And he's going to get a big contract. Huge.
Hopefully from the Yankees.
How could it not be?
I don't know.
I don't care what any other team offers Juan Soto. as a free agent this offseason, this winter. You have to match it or do better.
I agree.
I don't care what Steve Cohen throws at him. I guess, can you realistically, this would be a question for Yankees fans here, can you justify paying him more than Aaron Judge? That's where it gets tricky.
Yes.
If Soto wants $1 million more than Judge per season just to say he's the highest paid guy, you'd give it to him.
Yes, he's a better hitter. He's a more productive at-bat. Juan Soto, we haven't seen times in Juan Soto's career yet, he's young, where he goes through these streaks like Aaron Judge goes through, where you could throw him anything and he'd swing at it and miss. Aaron Judge still needs to learn how to not let that happen. And he can get as hot as this. Yes, that's fine. When he's on, and he's as good as Juan Soto. But Juan Soto doesn't ride the roller coaster like Aaron Judge does.
No roller coaster in Philadelphia. I don't know if they have theme parks in Philadelphia. There's one not too far out in Hershey, but that's not Philadelphia.
I mean, in Pennsylvania.
You're right. It is this. And I would say it's a steady climb, but it's not. They are shooting up the standings. Look at this. Best 50-game start since the 01 Mariners, and Seattle tied the Major League record with 116. Now, Rob Thompson, the manager of Philadelphia, after the Phillies won a Thursday afternoon game, was asked about the start and said, hey, you guys now have the best start since the Mariners. And his response was, how'd they do?
Right.
And the answer is didn't win the World Series, which that is such a great old school manager answer.
Yep.
How they doesn't matter.
Right.
And
ask me when the entire season is over, and I'll let you know.
And this is a team that doesn't have Trey Turner currently, but I mean, Alec Boehm has been out of his mind. That won't last. Mm-hmm. But the pitching is phenomenal, and I knew that going in. Like this team's rotation is going to be really good because of Wheeler and Nola. But Ranger Suarez, 9-0 and a minuscule ERA. Insane. So Philadelphia is legit as much as it pains me to say it.
That's the same as with the Yankees. They're doing this all without Garrett Cole. We talked a lot about Aaron Judge, but they're doing what they're doing with an incredible ERA, and that's without their number one pitcher, who they pay a lot of money. So, you talk about, well, if he comes back, is it whatever? You're still bringing him back, and they're doing it all without him.
Yeah. All right, where are we and why are we here? Ribbon cutting earlier Thursday at Tinney's Tavern, Lake Desolation in Saratoga County, and that's Sean Wilcoxon, one of the owners, with the scissors. Bill Miller next to him. It was a family-owned business. It is still a family-owned business, and you saw the shot of the lake. I mean, my goodness, what a beautiful setting for this restaurant. Some tables outside on the deck. And they will add a little bit of more outdoor space from what I hear. And the food is great. I've had it already. And they're just doing a really, really good job. So we're happy to be here. Bill Miller, of course, you hear him. Hey, there he is, right behind me. Get out of the way, Chris. There he is. There he is.
Hi, Bill.
One of the owners of Performance Industrial and now this restaurant as well. He'll be so happy.
He's bussing tables.
Yeah, he'll be so happy he just got on TV, which he has tried to avoid all day long here. All right, we'll take a quick timeout on Onorato and Miller. When we come back, Dak Prescott says he doesn't play football for the money. And the show open, which you can't miss. You don't want to miss it. We're back right after this.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bev's, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bev's. At the end of the day, if you walk in these stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
It's always a good time there. Doesn't matter where. It's always a good time there.
Play to win a 2024 Chevy Camaro convertible through June 29th. Celebrate 20 years of good times at Saratoga Casino Hotel.
It's always a good time.
Learn more at SaratogaCasino.com.
Have to try. It's always a good time.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
Back on Onorato and Miller. All right, here it is, the much anticipated show.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpen House.
All right, back on Onorato and Miller now. Tinney's Tavern, Lake Desolation, Middle Grove, Greenfield Center. Great to have you with us here. Let's get into the NFL conversation because Dak Prescott said something very interesting. He said, I don't play football for the money. All right.
Yeah.
It's a great sentiment, but nobody's believing this. And he even went further to say, I would play this game if there were no money.
Well, that's even more ridiculous. Not playing it for the money, and that's two different. I believe that his sole reason for playing is not the money. I can believe that. I love football. It's my first love. I love it like my family. Whatever that I've been playing it since I was 10.
Yeah.
I believe that. I believe you don't play it for the money necessarily as your number one. But nobody's playing for free. Nobody's playing for free. Dak Prescott's not playing for free.
And, he will lean on the other thing he said, which was, I allow the business people to take care of the business side of it.
Sure.
So that's his way to then, when he doesn't accept a Cowboys offer that may not make him the highest paid quarterback in the league or whatever, he can say, well, it's not up to me. It's up to my agent. And
I leave that to somebody
right.
else.
I'll play for anything. I'll play for nothing.
Right.
But they don't. That's not the way the negotiation. Right. So he's protecting himself, knowing.
But what I make goes to them, so blame them. They want the money.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not buying it, but let's look at maybe where Dak will land or should land. Joe Burrow. This is all annual average. Okay. So it's not the totality of the contract. It's just per year. Okay. Burrow's the highest paid guy at 55. Goff just got his new contract, 53. Herbert, Lamar, Jalen. Should Dak? These are the only guys who are making 50 or more. Okay, Rodgers, remember, took a pay cut and restructured and all that.
Yep.
The only guys making 50 or more. Should Dak be in the 50 million a year club?
No. That's an easy no for me.
Would you take all these guys over Dak Prescott?
Yes. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would too.
Especially like
Jalen Hurts.
And I know, yes, I would. He's less injured, less broken generally. I mean, just the one injury for me is enough to say I'm going to take two guys who are fairly similar and take Hurts over Prescott. But yeah, to me, he's not those guys. He can't win you. He hasn't won you a playoff game. Until he does that, I'm not giving him that kind of money.
Yeah.
And I know people would question Herbert, like, he's young in his career. What has he done? But I'm not counting that. I'm just saying I'm not giving Dak Prescott that kind of money.
Right. Dak already got a contract. Yep. He's now in the final year 4 of that contract. And so he's already gotten paid on some level. It was 4 years, 160 something million.
Yeah,
so,
listen, he's not hurting.
But is he going to go 50 plus? My guess is he will, only because the market calls for that to happen. But I guess if you're Dallas, the question is, do you keep him? So many NFL teams are afraid of the unknown.
Yep.
And my guess is Jerry Jones in his 80s, haven't won a Super Bowl since 95, is afraid of the unknown as well. Like, do I really want to go back to square one with my quarterback, or do I just try to keep rolling Dak out there hoping we win one eventually? They're going to pay him, right?
I would assume so.
Not before the season, though, I don't think.
I would assume so.
I think this goes – now, they can't tag him, and they can't trade him based on his contract. So
you
if
pay
he
him or you
hits
cut him?
free agency, it gets very interesting.
You pay him or you cut him.
Gets very interesting.
Would you pay him?
Not that money.
Right.
I don't even know that you could pay him Daniel Jones money. We'll get to Daniel Jones
which
in
is
a minute
crazy.
here.
I'd pay him Daniel Jones money, but only because he's better than Daniel Jones, not because I think he deserves Daniel Jones money.
Dan Campbell today, Thursday, the Lions head coach said, I don't see bust. I see Super Bowl. I don't know what bust is. I love Dan Campbell. This sounds like AI generated comment. It's robotic. It's meatheadish. But that's what people love about Dan Campbell in a lot of ways. And so do you see Super Bowl with the Lions?
He doesn't see bust. As in, like, are we talking boom or bust where, like, it's all or nothing?
Super Bowl. Should the Lions be viewing 2024 as Super Bowl or bust?
No.
Made the NFC Championship game a year ago.
No.
Had a lead over the 49ers.
But that's not really what he's saying. Like, I'm saying, okay, should they view it as Super Bowl or bust? No. But he's saying he doesn't even see bust. Like, it's not on his radar.
Dan Campbell's a guy that doesn't recognize failure, right? He only sees the positive and the path to success. So my question again is, should the Lions view 2024 as Super Bowl or bust?
I don't believe so.
Right.
But I'm not the head coach.
Right. So I don't think so either. If the Lions get to the playoffs again and win another playoff, that to me is success for this franchise. You have to build slowly.
That's the problem. Is we've become so prisoner of the moment. Like, well, they've gotten a lot better. Well, yeah, but they used to not win any games. So you have to it has to be, like you're saying, a gradual build. It can't just be like you go from winning no games to winning all the games all at once. That's not how it works. But that's how people think. You get there once, you get a taste of it. Well, now it has to be better every time.
Now the Packers need to
Super Bowl or bust.
No, but they need to make the playoffs, and they need to win at least one game again.
Okay.
For Jordan Love's development, right? Like, this is a big year for Jordan Love too. Got to remember,
well, last year was a huge year for Jordan
He's a
Love.
free agent after this year. So what does
and
Green
now
Bay
you
do?
have
How
to
long do
decide-
they wait?
Yep. Now you have to decide, is he your – I think they know as long as he doesn't regress.
Yeah, listen, if they're 5-2
he's your
and he's
franchise
playing
quarterback.
well, they will give him a huge
And
contract.
they probably should. Although it'll be more than he deserves, likely.
No doubt.
But they probably should, as opposed to starting over.
Yep.
Because you can win games with a quarterback like Jordan Love. Can you win a Super Bowl? I don't know, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Super Bowl, huh?
Ooh, good one.
Niners are the favorites to win it all. Chiefs, Ravens, and then I threw these odds in here, piggybacking off the Dan Campbell comments. Detroit is 4th in Vegas, tied with the Bills and Bengals at plus 1,300. So 13-1.
Best
I
money?
know the Niners are, but I wouldn't pick them. I wouldn't, even at 5.5-1. If you throw $100, I wouldn't pick them.
This feels like a weird year. I would throw, like, if we're going, you're just for the money. I'm going to throw $100 on Houston.
I know you would. They scare me.
I would do it though.
Of like all of this hype, and
yeah, but look, no, I mean not that much hype. It's not like they're in the top. So
yeah, they're right behind this group, maybe plus 1,600. I have to look again.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But that doesn't scare me. That's a good bet.
I'm not talking about the Vegas. I'm talking about the media hype. I'm talking about all the offseason moves they've made. They all appear to be brilliant and perfect, and it just feels like, is that really going to work out?
Yeah, if it feels that brilliant, though, it feels like Vegas would know it was brilliant. And they're not saying it's brilliant. They're still kind of, Plus
all right.
16, that's pretty good.
I like that. Okay. I've told you I like Houston as a bet.
Do you have a sleeper other than Houston?
The Rams. Plus 2,400. And the smarter bet is just to bet them to win the NFC.
Right.
They should have won at Detroit in the wild card round. Lost by, a point, right? Or a field goal, whatever it was. And now you're going to get a full year of Stafford healthy. Yes, I know Aaron Donald retires, but they've rebuilt some of the interior of that line. The secondary's better now. Maybe you get a full year of Cooper Kupp with Nakua. Kyron Williams. The O-line is better. I like the Rams. I like the Rams this year.
I like different.
Daniel Jones says he will be ready. Remember, ACL injury midway through last season. Says he will be good to go week 1 versus the Vikings.
Okay. That's
What are the
interesting.
Giants this year? They're going to play 17 games. Will they win 6 of them?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Tough division now.
It is.
Washington, I mean, we'll see with the rookie quarterback,
I was
Jane
going to say
Daniels.
that there's still a lot to be desired or determined, I should say. Not a lot to be desired, a lot to be determined with that. But, yeah, it's not an easy division, that's for sure, especially with Philadelphia. I think they win 7 or 8 games.
Okay. All right, another quick timeout here on Onorato and Miller. When we come back, is the honeymoon in Indiana over already with Caitlin Clark? Feels like it might be. They got an 0-5 team, and they're on TV every night. What will it do to the ratings? We'll talk about that next here on Onorato and Miller.
Get ready for the thrill of a lifetime with Tracker fishing boats. Available at Alpenhaus. Feel the rush as you reel in your trophy catch, supported by Tracker's unmatched stability. Prepare to conquer any challenge with cutting-edge tech at your fingertips and the freedom to explore without limits. Make waves this season and experience the ultimate fishing adventure with Tracker fishing boats at Alpenhaus. Your source for fun since 1964.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Back on Onorato and Miller and live from Tinney's Tavern, Lake Desolation. There you go. Hey. Beautiful bar area, redone floors, new paint,
Beautiful.
same charm of the place that was built here in the 1950s.
It's really nice.
And the food is excellent, and the hospitality is phenomenal. I enjoyed the Rangers' hospitality on Wednesday night. Just handing the Panthers a goal and then a 3-0 victory in game 1 as well. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Ben's a Rangers fan.
Well, Ben, I'm sorry. And I'm not.
Told you, Ben.
As a Devils fan, okay, I have very little sympathy for these teams that have success.
Very little. None.
No
sympathy. None.
Sorry, Ben. I didn't know you were a Rangers fan, to be honest with you. We're no longer friends. It's too bad. Ben's a good guy. So Rangers are into the Eastern Conference Finals. Panthers are tough.
Oh.
And then on the other side, Stars and Oilers.
The Western Conference is generally tough for me to really get behind. Ooh, Sabres maybe even worse. That's sad. Ben's a Sabres fan. I don't know many Sabres fans.
My buddy Pete, who you know, diehard Sabres
Buffalo
fan.
everything.
Buffalo,
Yeah.
Yep. Seth Appert, former RPI head coach, now on the bench with Buffalo behind Lindy Ruff.
But tough to be a Sabres fan.
Why?
Did you just ask that question? They haven't won in an eternity.
Yeah. They had some fun teams when they had Daniel
Didn't they have Ryan Miller?
and Chris Drury and Ryan Miller. They had some fun teams.
They did.
I think
It's
they may
been
have
a
gotten to
while,
an
though.
Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe.
Been a while.
It's been a long, long while. All right. We are, like I said, Tinney's Tavern, and the owners of Performance Industrial are also involved in this restaurant now. They do big
They
things.
do a little bit of everything.
Just like Onorato and Miller.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
Karen and Bill Miller, Sean Wilcoxon, the Performance Industrial Squad. And our Dirty Difficult Done this week takes us to Indiana. Is the honeymoon done already for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever? Is this the most reactionary triple D of all time?
Not the most.
They're 0-5. Clark has played pretty well.
Decent. She's been okay.
Turns it over.
Too much.
Doesn't shoot a high percentage. Like on Wednesday night, she had 21-7-7 in a loss to Seattle.
It's pretty good.
But they're 0-5.
She was the number 1 pick in
Yep.
the WNBA draft because the Fever isn't very good. That's why they got her. It doesn't always just happen like that, despite adding, and we have argued that maybe she wasn't the best player in the country, that if you put her up against 5 other players, is she the best player in the country? Is she deserving of the number 1 overall pick from a purely best basketball player standpoint?
Not talking about the marketing, ticket sales.
But you have to take her for the marketing, the ticket sales, and all the money and attention she will generate for your team. But still, this is not a Band-Aid, it fixes a bad team overnight. Like this is a process. It's going to take her time to get her feet wet, and it's going to take all of them time to learn to play together, and you also have to add more pieces. It can't be one player creates this phenomenal WNBA team. There are really talented WNBA teams out there.
Yeah, right. Like Clark in Boston can't do everything. Right. So, yeah. Okay. Honeymoon's not over. Well, it's not over yet, but they're reviewing the vows and maybe hoping there was a prenup. I'm not saying Indiana is regretting the pick. I'm saying I think people who were swept up in Caitlin Clark fever are now like, do I want to watch on a Tuesday night? I got Netflix and Prime and Apple, and am I what? So I'll be interested to see what the ratings do now in the next couple of weeks. That's all I'm saying.
Do they get more games nationally televised, or does ESPN back off? Is that even possible?
I don't know if they can.
You're still selling out arenas. She's selling out arenas despite an 0-5 team so far, selling out arenas everywhere they go. They don't care if they win. I'm going to bet if they continue to make money hand over fist and sell out games, it will be nice to win eventually. But this season is not a we have to win season.
No, I completely agree with that. I'm just thinking like from and she just signed a huge deal with Wilson. So it's not like companies are thinking, oh my gosh, maybe we need to, they're going to strike while the iron is still hot. I just wonder how hot it still is. That's all.
Yeah, honeymoon's not over yet.
Okay. All right, this segment is over. Let's take a quick break here on Onorato and Miller. When we come back, we're going to talk with Ed Mitzen. Haven't even teased the Mitzen segment yet. Talk with Ed Mitzen, who wants to bring an MLS Next team to Albany. He'll explain the differences, but on the surface, you have Major League Soccer, where Messi plays, and then you have MLS Next, which is like the minor league system
the
for
next
MLS.
Generation of
there
MLS
it is.
players.
Thank you. Exactly. Great idea. There's a little bit of a artist rendering we'll show you of what the stadium would look like near the Hudson in downtown Albany. The plot of land is picked out, 9 acres, stadium, apartments, restaurants, bars, all that good stuff.
Great.
We're talking with Ed Mitzen, finger paint and business for good in the Capital Region. Next, right here on Onorato and Miller, live from Tinney's Tavern.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bevs, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bevs. At the end of the day, if you walk in these stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
What better way to jumpstart the season than with a month-long event here at Alpenhaus RV? Start making memories today. Stop in during our camping season kickoff sales event and make this a summer you won't forget. Visit us online at alpenhausrv.com or in Amsterdam and Saratoga.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
I think we all know that if something like this doesn't happen, in 5 years we're going to be standing here going, what do we do with these parking lots? And what are we going to do with the bus station?
Back on Onorato and Miller, and I heard whispers that Ed Mitzen might try to do something big with a soccer team. And you hear things and you think, hey, that'd be really cool. But until I hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say, okay, then I'll believe it. Well, we've heard it. Ed has said it, and you just heard it too there, that clip we played from News Channel 13 in a press conference that was held on the site of where this soccer stadium will be built. How do you not get fired up about this? I mean, I like big dreamers, and you have to swing big sometimes. And Ed Mitzen swings big, and he makes more than contact, that's for sure. A guy who many people in the Capital Region know because of the incredible success with Finger Paint and now Business for Good and all of the good that is doing. I'm supposed to be better with words than that, but that's the best I've got. It's doing a lot of good. Let's bring Ed into the conversation here, because I want to drill down to this idea of a soccer team. We run stuff on TV in like 10, 15-second sound bites. I really want to play this thing out with the man behind the idea. So here's Ed Mitzen on Onorato and Miller with us. Ed, it's great to have you on. First time. I've admired all of your work from afar for quite a while now, but this is fun. I look forward to talking about this big idea you have. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, thanks. It's exciting. This is as much about bringing a sports team to Albany as is trying to redevelop a big part of Albany. We all saw what happened when Caitlin Clark and that group was here, and just the excitement downtown. I went to the Bill Maher show with my wife a couple of days ago at the Palace. It was fantastic. The Springsteen show we went to a couple of weeks ago, and with the explosion of the popularity of soccer in this country and the World Cup coming in 2026, we just felt like there may be a great opportunity to try to bring a pro team to the Capital Region. And I had some conversations with some soccer fans. I would not classify myself as a soccer aficionado. I'm a sports junkie, as my wife will tell you. I watch sports pretty much. That's all I watch. And I'll watch everything from women's golf to every college football game I can get my hands on, to MLS games and you name it. I draw the line at the cornhole tournaments and things like that. I won't go that far, but yeah, this is exciting. So I had started having conversations with MLS about 6 months ago down in Manhattan, and got to know the leadership there, explained to them our desire to explore bringing a Major League Soccer team to the Capital Region. And if you look at MLS and how it's just exploded in popularity with Messi and David Beckham owning part of the team down in Miami, and all the excitement around soccer now in this country, we're sort of catching up with the rest of the world. And Major League Soccer now, MLS now has 29 teams in the league. And they have there's 27 MSL teams. And then they have 29 teams that are in this league called MLS Next Pro, which is basically provides a pathway for younger players to get and graduate up until the MLS league. So there's 27 affiliated teams in the MLS Next Pro, and they have 2 independent teams currently, the Carolina Core, which is down in High Point, North Carolina, and the Chattanooga Football Club in Tennessee. We would become one of those additional independents. And right now they're rolling out independents in MLS Next Pro in Cleveland, Jacksonville, and Connecticut. So the fact that we're being considered and that MLS is so excited about coming to Albany is really exciting.
Why? What is it about Albany, Ed, that has that league behind you and behind this idea?
Yeah, I think being the capital and being geographically centrally located in the state is an advantage. They see a lot of the growth around the area with the chip fab plants and the resurrection of Schenectady and Troy's coming back, and I think that personally, and I think you mentioned it in your intro, we need to take some big swings in Albany. I think, if we look at the 9-acre piece of property that we're planning to try to develop, and the stadium would only be about 25% of that development project. The land is there, the location, proximity to a lot of the restaurants on Pearl Street and Madison Avenue, and just to be able to make a really big statement with a growing league and a growing sport, I think presents tremendous opportunity. So most of the guys that work at MLS are from New York. They work in New York City. So they love the idea of having an upstate team to balance some of the folks down in New York City. And I think the other thing that they're excited about is that the mayor is completely on board, county commissioner's on board. We've gotten some very good initial feedback from the mayor. Governor Hochul and some of her people. And I'm really cautiously optimistic that we can get this done. The way MLS works is Lisa and I have filled out a formal application, submitted an application fee. They do all the background checks on you and all that kind of stuff. And then you submit basically a formal plan to MLS about what your stadium plans are, how you're going to market it, who the core team members are going to be. And then once you have to get concrete approval to build a new stadium. They don't want these new teams, because of the excitement in the league. They don't want you playing at a local college or some kind of public field. They want a brand new stadium in these locations. And they have to take it to their governing board, which is one member of every team gets to vote. And they have to take our formal application. Once we have that concrete decision on the stadium, then they'll take it to their board for approval. So they don't want to get egg on their face and announce that they're coming to Albany, and then suddenly something goes wrong and we don't get the stadium built. It's a very accelerated timeline because of the popularity with MLS. They don't want to spend 3 years cultivating a location. We have basically until the fall to figure out a way that this is actually going to be funded and happening, and then hopefully get the approval before the end of the year. It's a 2-year. We have committed that if we can get this done, we will be playing in June of 2026 in Albany. The league starts at the end of February, so our first few games for the first 90 days or so will be played on the road, which is probably just as well because of the weather up here. Yeah. But then by June, we have to have our kickoff inaugural game in our stadium in June of 2026. So there's not a lot of time to play around here. We've got a whole development team led by Jeff Buell that's working with all of the powers that be, from Capitalize Albany to the state to the mayor's office and all the political folks that have to be brought into the fold, which, to be candid, I know nothing about. And he's working to try to secure the land and get all the financing lined up. We expect that a lot of this will be privately funded. If you look at the campus or the plan for that 9-acre parcel, the stadium is about 25% of it. There's a bunch of green space. There's plans to build affordable housing and apartments and hopefully restaurants as well. So you'll have a destination to go to. And, we were laughing that we should call it Rebecca Lobo Park because, she kind of dumped on Albany a little bit. And in a lot of ways, she wasn't wrong. I mean, there's some things to do in Albany. Having grown up here, I know a lot of the great things to do, but if you're an outsider and you're driving downtown on a Tuesday night, it can be a little bit dead, especially in certain times of the year. So I'm hoping that this, much like we did with Hattie's on Madison Avenue, where we're bringing some light into that corridor and encouraging other businesses to come in, I think that this soccer team, along with all the development around it, is going to be a huge win for the city. And
so let me ask you about the size of the stadium and then its multi-purpose use, if there is multi-purpose use. Yep. 8,000 seats. I'm guessing you did homework there, like why that number is the right number. And then beyond soccer, we have SPAC, right, which we all love, right. SPAC. And I know people are getting creative with golf courses and stuff to have concerts and as an outdoor venue. But do you see this as a place that could then host outdoor events other than soccer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way it would work is Lisa and I, being the owners of the team, we would lease a certain number of days from the people that are running the stadium, which is yet to be determined. Okay. So we would lease, let's say, 30, 40 days from the folks that are running the stadium. The rest of the days would be open and can be used for not only concerts, but anything that can be played on a rectangle. So you could play rugby and field hockey and, other types of soccer. I mean, I was mentioning to the press that, where else should you have the boys and girls high school soccer championships in New York, but the Capitol?
Yep.
It makes all the sense in the world. And it's definitely a multi-purpose use. If you look at the other, you got MVP Arena that has a certain capacity. You've got the Palace Theater that holds like less than 3,000. SPAC obviously can hold 25,000, but there's obviously an opportunity for an outdoor sort of 5 to 10,000 seat arena that can be used for concerts and all sorts of things, graduations. I think it could be a really popular facility, and being outdoors without a roof, it gives it a whole other feel than some of the inside locations, especially in the Albany area.
All right, as the owners of the town, let me get way ahead, because this is what we love to do, especially in sports media, is get way ahead.
Yep.
As the owners, have you already begun to privately discuss a name?
We have. That would have to get approved by MLS, but because I have finger paint and I've got a lot of creative people working there, we've already played around with names and logos and jersey colors and all that kind of stuff. We're not ready to announce that yet. We've also began behind the scenes conversations with the managers of the team, the coaches. There's a lot of people in this area and from this area that would love to move back to be a part of this. One of the things that I've learned with finger paint and my other companies, my secret sauce, if you will, is hiring people smarter than me and getting out of their way. So I am not going to be the Jerry Jones of MLS Next Pro. I'm going to hire people and bring in people that are rock stars, give them what they want, and try to have a very, very successful team here. I realize that the area has had, ups and downs when it comes to minor league teams. This is a major league team, and I think it would be the first major league team to come here. We're also catching it on a real upswing. So in the past, some of the sports that we've gotten involved with, in my opinion, are sort of plateaued or on the downslope. This is really accelerating all over the country. And you've got all these people that are coming to this area from overseas companies, whether or not it's technology or chip fab or all that. They're coming from India and China and Japan and Europe, and they want a place to, they want a hometown soccer team. So I feel really bullish about this plan. I just hope we can get everybody rallied. You're always going to have naysayers. What do we do about parking? What do we do about this or that? That's all easy stuff. I think that if we don't do this, you and I could be sitting around in those empty parking lots in 5 years going, boy, I wonder what we're going to do here. The Greyhound bus station I took that when I went to college at Syracuse 35 years ago, and I don't think it's been updated since. The ability to take that building down, put a new destination so that when kids that are coming to SUNY on buses up from the city, that's not this empty parking lot and rundown bus station isn't the first thing they see. That's not their first impression of Albany. They see this amazing soccer stadium with all this green space.
When I look at the artist renderings, and I'm a Braves fan, so forgive me, I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit here.
Okay.
What they did, they put the ballpark out in not the middle of nowhere, but in suburb spot with a lot of space. And what they've built up around it is incredible. And you go to a game, but it's almost like the game becomes secondary almost to the restaurants and shops and everything else that surrounds it in the Battery. And look, maybe that isn't to this degree, but when I see the artist renderings and the idea being talked about, I think to myself, yes, this is where you go, you park, you have the ability to walk around before or after the game in a safe space.
Right. And the other thing I would say is the rendering that you saw, because I got eviscerated online. Oh my God, it's so ugly and blah, blah, blah. That rendering was just designed to show that it could fit, that a stadium will fit on this 9-acre plot, along with housing, along with apartments. We are interviewing right now 2 global architecture firms that all they do, or 90% of what they do, is build stadiums. One of them built SoFi in LA. So these are professional designers and planners that do soccer stadiums. They've done them all throughout Europe. So we're meeting with those architects. We're not going to put anything ugly down there. I hope that this is going to be like one of the coolest things to happen in downtown, probably since the Times Union Center or the Knickerbocker Arena opened up, which is now obviously MVP. I look at it as really game-changing for the region.
And you said this, you envision most of this, maybe all of it, being privately funded. But I'll be honest with you, Ed, I mean, this tells you maybe how desensitized we are to the cost of things. It's not my money.
Right.
When I heard $300 million, I thought, that's it? I mean, you get stadiums now, and I understand there are maybe 50,000 seat stadiums that are over the $1 billion mark, but $300 million, easy for me to say, seems like a very reasonable number to get this done.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to need state support. I mean, we've got, I feel comfortable that we've got more than half of it lined up privately. There's a lot of developers that want to come in and be a part of this. But we're definitely going to need some state support. But I agree with you. I think the impact on the tax base, the impact on the small business community with all the restaurants and bars and bagel shops and all that kind of stuff, as well as the impact on crime. I just saw a thing, I believe in the Times Union, that showed that Schenectady and Troy, the crime rates are down. And a lot of that, I feel, is because there's been investment, there's been jobs. You drive through Schenectady now. I was there, Lisa and I were there last Saturday night for an Alzheimer's gala, and you can't believe that it's Schenectady. I mean, they've done such an amazing job down there. And there's no reason why Albany can't capitalize on these types of opportunities and make it more livable for all the people down there. We plan to hire people from the community, much like we did it with Hattie's on Madison. We've got people living, we've got apartments in that Hattie's building where we're giving people housing as part of their compensation. So there's endless opportunities about this project that are really exciting.
And for people who know you, and again, I'm on the periphery, but the ability to be creative in how you try to put something together. It's not just this is the way it needs to be done and that's it. You're creative in the process. I'll ask you just one more thing here, Ed, to kind of bring it all back to the beginning where you said the fall. Do you have a date or a month in mind where you feel like I will know by then whether or not we're really moving forward?
Yeah, I think by sometime in October, we should have a sense for whether or not this is going to happen or not. And Jeff and his development team are working like madmen to try to bring in all the parties and get consensus. And the message we're trying to convey is Major League Soccer wants to come to Albany. They came up here. They've spent a couple of days with us. They've toured the site. They've met with the mayor. They've met with a whole host of politicians. They want to be here. So this opportunity may not come up again for a while. And if we don't strike while the iron's hot and sort of get out of our own bureaucratic way, we may lose this. So I recognize there are processes and things we have to go through and all sorts of funding requests and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just looking at this as I got a team right on the cusp. Let's take a big swing and make this happen. And I'm cautiously optimistic we're going to get it done.
Incredible. You've mentioned your wife's name a few times. Lisa, as much a part of this as you are, Ed, I know. Big stuff, man. It excites me, and I think it will pull in even people who aren't soccer fans, because it's going to be something really cool and something to do in that area that's outside and mostly in the good weather. Ed, thank you for jumping on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and we'll keep you posted as we go along.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Albany House.
All right, and back now at Tinney's Tavern. Ash, great to catch up with Ed Mitzen, who I said to him, I only know you on the periphery. Like, I know of you type of stuff. And he said the same thing. I know of you, but we met briefly at Saratoga Racecourse last summer, but that was really it.
I was going to say, Ed Mitzen is the guy who's like stuff of legend. Like, you hear all this great stuff about him, but he's like the man in the shadows. And then all of a sudden, you get a chance to meet him.
So he and his wife, Lisa, would be the owners of this team, the only owners of this team.
Be awesome.
And then they would hire, obviously, everything from there. Because to Ed's point, he goes, I don't know enough about soccer. I want to bring something to the city of Albany and own a sports franchise. Pretty cool. What do you think? Soccer in Albany.
We've talked about this before. Albany is a very difficult place to have sports franchises, but the Valley Cats did it. And had they not lost affiliation, I think they would be crushing still. And they don't do poorly. Soccer is an interesting sport here because there are a lot of kids locally who play it, whether it's a rec team or a travel team like the Alley Cats. Every, Shenandoah Soccer, Shaker Soccer, there are plenty of schools at the school level who are very successful at the state level, and plenty of travel teams who go on to succeed at the state and national level. That I think there is a niche interest in it.
Couldn't you say all of those same things about lacrosse?
Lacrosse, you could.
Okay.
But it's not. It's a smaller percentage of the population that plays the sport of lacrosse.
And watches. A lot of people watch soccer.
And are successful at it. I think, you talk about it growing up. Almost every kid is like, I grew up playing soccer. Like, every kid has tried it at some point.
Yeah,
Not every kid has tried lacrosse. So I think you are going to get those kids who, even if it's just from an exercise standpoint, I just want to do something, or a kid who's not athletic, who their parents are like, well, you got to play one sport. And soccer's that sport. You'll get that interest, and I think it's just easy to watch. It's easy to understand.
Yes, it is.
So from that perspective, that's a good start. It's easier to understand than baseball in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, and as Ed and I talked about, it's a multi-use facility, right? It's an outdoor concert venue. He said to me, he's like, why wouldn't you play the New York State High School Championships at this stadium?
You should.
Right, so he's already thinking that far ahead, and they would own the team. There'd be a stadium ownership group that then the Mitzens would lease out for games itself. But it would be up to them to fill it with whatever other entertainment they wanted, similar to an MVP arena. Ed also, as you heard him say, brought up the point that, like, we have people moving to this area internationally because of the chip fab and because of technology here in the area. So he's hoping that helps create a little bit of an interest too, just inherently.
And I like the vision. It's not you mentioned the concert venue, the multi-use facility. It's not a narrow vision. It's not I'm bringing my soccer team and this is all we're adding to it. It's been well thought out. Restaurants, bars, rec areas, those are all things that will help make the city of Albany better and will help the soccer team thrive if you can get restaurants and bars around that area that people want to go to dinner, have a drink before the game, and then go to the game. It becomes a social event and something that is interesting to do and interesting to do with friends. That is cool. That's a lot cooler.
To a smaller scale, but it reminds me of, and this is not unique to Atlanta, but it reminds me of what the Braves did with the Battery.
Yep.
Well, we're rooting for them.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. All right. Are the NBA Finals, Conference Finals, lacking big market intrigue, or are you in on these matchups? And it's funny because Boston's a big market. Dallas is a big market, and Minneapolis is a sizable market, but they're not big NBA markets. So is there enough juice in these conference finals for you? You have Kyrie, you have Luka, you have the emerging superstar in Anthony Edwards, you have Jason Tatum. Okay.
Listen, Luka's one of the biggest stars on the planet. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are two of the biggest stars on the planet. So I think when you talk about individual stars, Anthony Edwards, with the exception of Indy, which they at least have Tyrese Halliburton, there is star power. It's just not your big guns. It's not the Heat. It's not the Lakers. But it's the Celtics. The Celtics are still alive. If the Celtics end up in the NBA Finals against whoever.
But we could have had the Knicks.
I get it. But does the rest of the, and I understand it's a big media market, but does the rest of the country care about the New York Knicks? Like, does anyone outside of New York care about the New York Knicks being successful? You know what I mean?
It's a good question. I think they drum up interest.
I'm interested in the T-Wolves because I think they're so much fun, and I love a good story. And to me, the Pacers are a good story too.
No doubt.
So I'm in because I'm as in as I would be for any other NBA team. Even if LeBron and the Lakers were in it, I'm as in now as I would be for that, which is not as in as most people.
We briefly talked about this with our buddies Jeff and Greg Stack. Game 1 in Boston, Indy up 3, doesn't foul.
Got a foul. I haven't been convinced of that until that exact situation. But Rick Carlisle took the heat for that and said, I should have called timeout and advanced the ball. That, right. They wouldn't have been in a situation where they potentially turned it over and it goes right back down the floor and Brown sinks a 3 to tie the game. So I get the concept, but there are other things that could have been done.
Yeah. You have to foul up 3. You just have to. I'm sorry. Motivation behind the Cavs firing JB Bickerstaff, and I should have saved more time for this because I think you might laugh at my reasoning. But he won 99 games the last 2 years for Cleveland. They won a playoff series this year.
Correct.
They are really up and coming. Why would they do this?
What's your reasoning?
To get LeBron James back. LeBron says, not my guy. If I'm coming back, it's got to be somebody else. Okay, he's out of here.
So you think
there's the theory that it's Donovan Mitchell, but it's not for me. I think LeBron is pushing these buttons, moving the chess pieces.
Okay. I mean, I'm interested. So you think the next hire is going to be
Bronny James
made by LeBron James? Well, he wouldn't be the hire.
Why not? Hire him as the coach.
He would be the draft pick, maybe.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But yeah, come on. You're Cleveland. Again, you're Cleveland. You win 48 games in the regular season. You win a first-round series. And you get beat by the Celtics. The Celtics who were picked to win it all, right?
Yeah.
Come on. We're really overshooting here. If you're Cleveland, you can't fire a guy who has overachieved for a Cavs team.
Ben's not buying my conspiracy theory there of LeBron. Troy says GM for multiple teams at once. Yeah. You know
and
what?
Whatever situation works out better, that's where he's going.
Don't love the Vogel guy, and the Bickerstaff guy could go too. And then maybe, right, Latash's point, maybe then I'll decide what I want to do.